How you doing, YouTube? Matt Massa Beer Reviews back with a little evil twin up in this piece in the form of their Un Mas a Jesus. This be a Imperial Stout aged on bourbon barrels, imported by 12% Beer Project, because this is made in Montesini, Santa Miguel de Belene, Barcelona, Spain. A product of Spain. It's been a while since I've done... That's not right. I was going to say an Evil Twin beer, but my boy Kyle sends off Evil Twin beers directly from them in the Crowler, so I've had them. It's been a while since I've had a bottle from these guys. And I'm like, look at this, and the Even More Jesus line from Evil Twin is beers that I've had before, and I was like, man, did I review this already? Because I picked this up locally, like, today. And I was like, I just want a big beer. I want something bold and big, and I don't want anything crazy price point-wise. This is $9 for a bottle. It's bourbon barrel aged. I was like, let's have at it. And I got home, I'm like, wait a minute, I probably already reviewed this already. So I went back in the old time machine and looked, and I have only done one Evil Twin Jesus beer before. I don't know how that's possible. I'm sure I've done one or two maybe in a mystery beer, but that was a cognac barrel aged version of this. So we'll see how the sucker plays. I've tried my little... Oh, that be thick. Tried my bestest to find a date on this thing. I couldn't. I don't have any inkling on date on this. I wish I can get this. I need the bottle's really dark. I wish I could see if I can get like a merc ring on this sucker. I can't really see anything. I have no inkling that this has a bunch of time on it, other than the fact that the bottles were mad dusty. Like mad dusty. There's a bunch of them. So I have no idea. Maybe I'll find a date on this afterwards. There's something here. No, that's just the defect. I was going to be a defect or defect on the bottle. No idea. Yep. How do I tell how old that is? Anyway, label-wise, it's what they do. And beer-wise, that's dark. That's like motor oil, like old school. It's not synthetic. This is 10W30 kind of motor oil. This is dark as dark could be. Got that nice kind of rich motor oil looking head on it too. It definitely looks the part a big burly stout. That's what I wanted. That's what I got. It's good nose. Thick, icky, sticky. I'm drinking this above typical temp. This is probably closer to like mid to high 50s. And it's all the parts of if you took baker's chocolate and threw it in some Nesquik and then threw that in some fudgies and then threw it into a non-hot bourbon barrel. This has to have a little bit of time on it because everything here is very cohesive. Everything here is not aggressive to the point. It's big, it's bold. It's not a small beer. What is this, 11-inch change? 12%. It's huge, but it's not sharp. It has the rounded edges to it, at least on the nose. And just has this richness to it. The beer is the star of the show here. The bourbon barrel is present. Get that nice fruitiness in there, a little bit of spirit, definite amount of char to it, a little bit of that chocolate coconut kind of char thing. But that beer kind of stands out. It's got this big, huge, fudgy, extra thick, like 5C thick kind of thing going on in a very, very tantalizing kind of way. Let's dive in. Cheers. Ooh. That is dry. That is violently undersweet. I did not expect that. I mean, it wasn't a huge nose. It wasn't a perceptionally sweet nose. You talk about sweet, you can't smell sweet, but you can get a lot of things that give you an idea of sweet when you smell things. So you can definitely smell sweet, just the precursors to it. And, with that chocolatey component, that fudginess, all that stuff, I expected to have a nice pop of sweetness on it. This is dry. This is dry and bitter, but not bitter in kind of a hop way. Bitter in kind of a roasted malt, undersweetened kind of way. Big barrel char kind of way. If it was colder, I think it would temper. Maybe it'd be a little bit sweeter because it might temper a little bit of that roasted bitterness. I'm not going to sit here and say hate it though. It's actually a nice change of pace. I was looking for something a little bit sticky, a little bit sweet. That's what I want. I want a little bit of dessert. It's been a while since I've had one of those beers. So I was like, this would probably do the trick. There's a bunch of other beers that I know would have fulfilled that. But I was like, I haven't had one of these in a while. Let me pick it up. Well, it's not the beer that I wanted. It might be the beer that I deserved. So right off the bat, bang, dead dry. Like almost like charry kind of charcoal kind of dryness to it. Chalky kind of dryness to it. Not chalky in texture, but the way chalk is kind of drying. huge roasted notes, huge chocolate notes, a little bit of blackstrap molasses, but everything here is woefully undersweetened. Nice mouthfeel to it. It's not the super 19C thick thing that I poured and what I thought I was going to get, but it's got a couple C's going on. The bourbon barrel's there. That char and that roasted toastiness in the char brings an added kind of bitterness to it. So it's like a little bit of bittering on top of that dryness and a little bit more bittering on top of that dryness from each component of the beer, from the barrel, from the roasted malts, from the hops that were used. So when you combine that big dryness with that big roasted component, it just perceptually is very undersweet. In the grand scheme of things, I'm sure if you kind of tested this, it would be high in calories and a very kind of, sweet beer as far as sugars go. But perceptually, it's not. And I don't hate it. I don't. This has to have time on it. I need to know. I'm going to have to figure out what's going on here. I might have to figure out afterwards what's going on. But yeah, I think this has a couple of years on it at least, if not a couple more. I think that's part of the reason why it's so dry and so underbittered, or so undersweetened. But I don't think it's gotten to a really weird place. I think it's gotten to a unique place that, while it's not exactly what I wanted and exactly what I would classify as like Mount Rushmore status kind of bourbon barrel aged beer for me, I think it tastes fun. And I'm not too upset about drinking this sucker. What can I say? Yeah. Huge roasted notes are out. We'll wrap this up. Huge roasted notes are out, all bittering and dry. Again, same thing on the chocolate side of things. All the chocolate you get from this beer, whether it be from the malt or whatever, from the barrel, all that stuff, very much Baker's chocolate, very undersweetened. You get a little bit of coconut, you get a little bit of vanilla from it. Again, everything's undersweetened. Bourbon's there, has a little nice red cherry note to it. Again, undersweetened. Everything here is undersweetened, but it comes off really nice. Nice mouthfeel, not overly thick, but a very fun beer and a very tasty beer. And a beer I'm kind of glad I got to try. So yeah, there you go. Is it one of the better bourbon barrel aged beers I've had lately? I'll put it in the conversation, just not towards the top for me. I do like my bourbon barrel aged beers to skew, not overly sweet, just a bit sweet, and this lacks that, and that's kind of what keeps it from getting there, even though I find it quite interesting. One of the more interesting barrel aged beers I've had is like, yes, value and availability. Like I said, $9 off the shelf, and leave you with, if you like what, will you like this? If you like big, burly, old school stouts, you want a little bit of extra oomph to it, I think this is what people would really like if you're into like OG level, like 70s and 80s big burly stout. That's what this reminds me of, but with that little bit of extra explosiveness and a little bit bourbon barrel aged twist on it. Not too shabby, let's put it that way. There you go, review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Down there if you want to talk about it. Massive Beers if you want to check me out doing the social media stuff. Beer Massif if you want to check me out doing the whole podcasting thing. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully you're enjoying a little bit of Evil Twin right now. Hopefully see you next time. Cheers.